What's up, guys? Big Papa Drock back with another Raid Shadow Legends video and back with another installment of my new series, Life After Raid. And guys, I am so incredibly excited for today's guest because I'm gonna be completely honest. He is the guest that I was hoping to get more than anyone else because he was my favorite content creator back in the day out of a slew of incredible content creators. So guys, welcome to the channel, the one and only Machan. Machan, how are you, my man? I am so happy to have you here.
Thanks for the invite. Hi, everyone. So happy to be here. It's been a while since I quit RaidShadowLegends, and honestly, I didn't read any news about the game. So I guess I'm very unknowledge about the game. So let's see. Let's see
great.
what we're gonna talk about.
This is fantastic. You've been gone, I think, now for about I want to say like a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half. So a decent amount of time. So we're definitely going to get into all that fun stuff. But before we do that, I think the way I always like to start these things, and by I say always like to start these things, I've only done one before with Chosen, which was incredible. So make sure to check that out. But really, I like to start with kind of what got you into Raid in the first place. When did you start playing Raid? What drew you to the game? How did you become a content creator for this game in the first place? So I'm really curious as to what your kind of starting point was.
Yeah, so I think I first downloaded this game in late 2019. I think that was right before COVID. So I think I downloaded like 5 or 6 gacha game to play to see which one I like. And then I decided to stick Raid because I think the graphics, I think it looks amazing. And then COVID happened and everyone just stuck at home. So I just start play a lot more. And then I think I just spent decent amount of money in the game. And then I start to play Arena. I think that's literally the only fun part of the game where you can kind of show off your gear, right? Because back in the days, like the dungeons and even faction wars, it was quite easy. Back in the days, there was no hard mode or anything. It's just everyone can run through these dungeons in like 30 seconds. So like why I was thinking like why do I even farm gear? Like the only place that I can show off the gear is Arena. So I start to pushing Arena and I join a really strong clan because I think clan members, they don't hate each other. So if you want to reach top 10, you're gonna be in a very strong clan. You're kind of protected, right? So I think I got like top 5 couple times. And how I got into content creation was I think there was one time I got number 3. Then I recorded my push to the YouTube. And back then there was a content creator called Mandible Gaming. So he saw my video and he was streaming at Twitch. He has like around 500 viewers at the point. Like he streams every arena reset. So I remember there was one time he was streaming and then he just gave my channel a shout out. He was like, everybody, all my viewers, go watch this channel. This is an amazing push video. I think before he did a shout out, I had 50 subscribers. So after the shout out, I think I got like 500.
Wow.
So yeah, 50 to 500, like 10x just in like one day. So that video, very first video, I got like 10,000 views. So that was quite something. So I started recording videos. Yes, like in my first couple of videos, there was no commentary, there was no camera, just me playing the game, and there are people watching it. So I was thinking, let's just improve it. I'm gonna add commentary, and later on, I'm gonna turn on the camera. Everyone see what I look like.
Yeah.
There are people that thought I was black. Okay.
Great. Nobody knew who you were. Nobody knew what you looked like. I actually remember that because I had watched your stuff before you had a camera. So yeah, that was a big thing for you.
Yeah, and I remember when I first started playing the game, I watched a lot of content creators. And when I first started watch Hell Hades, he didn't have a camera. That was very early on. And you said interview Chosen. Yeah, I watched that video. Like Chosen was one of my first like content creators I watched when I started the game, right?
Yeah.
And back in the days, there were Chosen, Darth, microtransaction.
Yep.
And there was another content creator called what's the name? Salt.
So I've heard of Salt. I've heard of Salt.
I watched a lot, but he quit a long time ago. That was fun.
This is so awesome to kind of get like how you got into this. So would you say that like Mandible giving you that shout out, was that kind of your big break for Raid, or was there another point later on where people really started becoming attracted to your channel?
because when I first started uploading video, there was no commentary. Like I just purely did it for fun. I
Hmm.
don't really care if I make money off of YouTube or anything. I just want to upload the videos. Like I sometimes upload videos out to YouTube when I was playing other games like World of Warcraft and stuff. The videos are unlisted. I just share it with my friends and stuff. But for Raid, I feel like even if I don't put commentary on it, there are still people watching it. They want to see how I play the game.
Yeah.
So after Manimal gave me a shout out, and I just think that probably I should make my channel better because there are people that really like my video.
I honestly, I'll be completely honest. I was one of those people. When I got into Raid, it was in 2021. I had done a sponsored stream because I was a Call of Duty streamer before I got into Raid. And I mean, there were so many content creators that I love. Ash, Hell Hades, Scratch, Nubs. I mean, YST. There's so many awesome content creators out there. And back then, the one that I gravitated towards was you and also Boomer, because the two of you
Yeah.
guys really did a lot of the end game PvP. And as I got sucked into Arena and Raid, I felt like I learned so much from watching you in particular. And that was why you ended up being my personal favorite content creator. Because you were the PvP specialist. You were the Kraken. You know, you were the guy that if I saw you in arena, it was like, oh, can I beat Machan's defense? Can I beat him? You know what I mean? And then if anybody ever beat him in my clan, we'd take a screenshot like, oh, we did it back in Classic Arena. So, it was definitely like you were kind of the guy for PvP stuff. And I think at one point you had won the most trophies in Classic Arena, if I remember correctly. I think you were like
The most
up.
amount of trophies? Like I had 6,
You
but
had
I
you
don't
had a
think that's the
lot.
most amount. Yeah.
Okay, maybe Panda had you beaten. I'm not sure, but you definitely were one of the top people for Classic Arena at that time. So super cool to hear how you got into it. Do you have, you mentioned a couple different content creators here. Do you have a favorite content creator? Was there one content creator that stood out for you that you just really loved their content? Beyond the ones that you listed that you really liked, was there one of those that was kind of your all-time favorite?
I think I watch like dark microtransaction the most before I got into content creation. Like after I get into content creation, I just don't watch other people anymore. Yeah, the reason I like dark content is because back in the days, he was the one that spent the most money on the game. Literally what his name says, right? His video is all about pulling the shards.
Oh yeah.
And
Speaking of
get
which,
red.
we got a big
Yeah.
shard event today that I'm debating whether or not I want to buy shards for. We got mythical shards, which I think you had left the game by the time mythicals came in, I believe, or maybe you were just
That's
about
correct.
to.
There
Yeah,
was no mythical when I
there's no
came.
mythicals, so a lot has changed. A lot has changed from when you were dominating the leaderboards. But yeah, Darth was before my time, but I'd watched a handful of his videos and thought he was fantastic as well. So a very good choice,
Yeah.
for sure.
Like for me, I just watch those entertaining like content creators instead of like the technical ones.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, I just want to feel the fun.
Feel the fun. It's interesting
Yeah.
because I do feel like content creators tend to fall into like one of those two categories. It's tough to be both, right? It's tough to be super
Mhm.
entertaining and extremely educational. You can do it, and there are definitely people that succeed at that. You know what I mean? And then also sometimes when you're more educational, it can be a little less entertaining but much more informative. So
Yeah.
I personally, though, I was always both entertained and informed by your videos. I think one of the things that always cracked me up when you were pulling shards, when you would end up pulling a bad champion, it would be like, oh no. It was
Yeah, I
literally,
think I always got the bad one.
yeah, you
Yeah,
had
my
some-
luck is terrible.
You had some
Yeah,
rough.
if we talk about the history of my bad luck, that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I remember, let's say Sify the Lost Bride. That champion
Yeah.
was one of the best champion in the game.
Yeah.
It came out on 2020, I believe. That champion released on 2020 Valentine's Day, and I got it in January 1st, 2022. I remember that date.
Oh,
Yeah, and I spent so much money. And how I got it is, I remember back in the days, everyone just saved voice shard for the 2x event, right?
mhm.
And then I saved like 300, 400, saved for a couple months. And then that morning on Saturday, I woke up, I started pulling my shards. And back in the days, there was no 10 pull. You have to do it one by one.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
So,
that's right. I forgot about that. Oh my
so
God.
what I did is I opened my auto clicker. I just start auto clicking. And then I went to eat my breakfast. And when I came back, I click my champion collection, I saw a Siffy in there. That's how I got my first Siffy. And that's the only Siffy I got when I quit in 2024.
Wow, you only pulled
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, I only pulled one. And I pulled like thousands of void shards.
Yes,
Maybe
you did.
4,000, 5,000 void shards.
You definitely wailed. We have that in common. I've done quite a few whale sessions in my time as well, but yeah, your luck was, I do remember that. Your luck was brutal. And I'm curious, you know, you were, in my eyes, you were a very successful content creator. You're well known. You were the PvP guy. I think your channel got up to over 20,000 subscribers at some point at your peak. What made you decide to walk away? What was the point where you said, you know what, it's time for me to leave. I've had enough. I'm ready to do other things. Like, what was kind of that inflection point for you?
There are multiple reasons. I remember, like, to be honest, the most fun I've ever had in the game is when there was no champion empowerment. So like the +4 stuff, because you get one copy and you're done. So when I got my first Siffy, I just feel that that's all I need. I don't need a second copy.
Yeah.
Right. And then the empowerment stuff came out. People need like a lot of duplicates. So I feel like that just, it's like a infinite hole that you're gonna dump money into it, right? And I feel like even I consider myself but if I compare myself to the real Krakens in this game, I think the money I spend is nothing.
Yeah.
Like, let's say compared to Panda, right?
Yes. Yeah.
He spent 10K a month, something like that.
Yeah.
I probably can spend like 1,000 a month. That's the most I can do.
Yeah, you make a really good point. I agree with you. When they introduced empowerments, that was a massive shift in the game, because if you guys don't remember, one of the things they said about putting a dupe system into the game was that, you know, oh, like everyone was looking forward to this dupe system, you know, don't worry, if you empower a champion, it's not going to mean that much for stats. They literally came out and they said, oh yeah, we're not going to have the stats be massively changed by empowerment. That was a lie. Obviously +4 champions are massively stronger than base level champions, and really especially for nukers, because you get the additional crit rates. So it was a total game shifter. So I could understand how at that moment, especially with your like poor shard luck and you're dumping cash into this game, you know, when you're trying to compete in PvP, suddenly that bar for competition went from here to like all the way in the sky. You know what I mean? You might as well be an oil sheik to be able to compete. So totally get that. Was there anything else that kind of affected your decision to walk?
Yeah, I mean, after this empowerment system came out, I was still able to compete. Like, I was still able to got #1. But I think overall, I just think like farming in this game takes too long, right? You cannot skip battle. And I remember like probably 8 months before I quit the game, I just lost interest in farming. I still like to actually play the game, like live arena or classic arena, whatever. I still like to play the game, actually play the game, and build champion stuff. But I don't want to have my computer open like 2-3 hours a day just to auto run stuff. So I remember like 8 months before I quit, there was something called a driver back in the days where like people just play your account. And I was in one of the biggest clan. I think it still exists right now, right? Immortal Horde.
Absolutely, it's still one of the absolute best clans out there. I'm in IPR, and Mad, which is the clan that you were in, is still one of the absolute best clans in the game and one of the best arena clans. We faced them. You can see right here on the screen. They're currently ranked right where we're at. So phenomenal
IPR,
clan.
like, your clan is a French clan, right?
It is a French clan. Yeah, it's funny. I started in Pandas and then ended up in IPR. And funny enough, I left Pandas because I couldn't put up a good enough Hydra score. I just didn't really care. I didn't have 2 Yumikos. So you want to talk about champion empowerment and stuff like that. At that time, you needed to have a Trunda team to really put up a massive Hydra score. And I think Hydra was in the game before you left, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And so I didn't have 2 Yumikos. I had made the mistake of feeding my Yumiko. So I had empowered my Yumiko, and then Hydra, you know, came about, and I couldn't put up the massive scores, and it was a major problem.
So that's the best champion for Hydra right now?
Well, so she was. I mean, she still is important. You can use another champion called Lamasu that they've put into the game. Was she a Knight's Rev? I can't remember what she is. No, not Knight's Rev. She's she's Dark Elves. That's what she is. Lamasu, who does no, she's not Dark Elves. I literally can't remember. What is this champion?
Yeah, before I quit, I think I don't use Yumiko at all in Hydra.
Yeah. Here we go. Here's the champion. So she's Demon Spawn. I can never remember what she is. For some reason, I think she's Dark Elves or Knights Rev every single time. But so basically, you can reset yourself. Yumiko resets Yumiko's skills. Lamasu resets Yumiko's skills. You're able to do an infinite loop with Trunda doing massive damage. But that was the reason that I ended up leaving Panda and joined IPR. And then still, because Hydra Clash is a thing, it's still important. But that's neither here nor there. So, okay, so empowerment was a big reason.
Yeah, I think I didn't finish my point, right?
Yeah.
So
we got a tangent there because of me. My bad.
I got a driver. There are a lot of drivers.
Yeah.
Immortal Horde Discord, right? These are basically like retired players. They, I don't want to say how they quit, but they quit. They're free, but they want to play the game. But they don't want to start with nothing, so they just get those OG accounts. It's not their own account. Yeah, they just took it over and farm for these top whales, and they can play arena. They can buy stamina all they want. They have pretty much infinite resources. They can build champion whichever they want. That's why there was one guy who was interested in playing my account, so I gave my account to him. So he basically did like 2-3 hours a day farming, daily quests, arena, all the stuff. Just use my free resources every day, and sometimes I just log on and kind of play a little bit myself and make some videos.
I love that you're open about this too, because a lot of people aren't. And so just to give you an update, I think Live Arena was in the game before you left.
Yeah.
Yes. So one of the big controversies right now is, they've put a seasonal mode into Live Arena, which was desperately needed. But the problem is that it's basically your chance to win is essentially based off of, are you going to play Raid every moment of every day in every Live Arena session that's available, because you have to hit an astronomical number of battles. And so a lot of people at the high level have multiple people playing their accounts. They may play a session. They may have a driver play a session, because realistically, win rate doesn't matter. It matters somewhat, but if you're putting up more battles than somebody else, you can afford to lose less. And so this has become a big kind of controversy, at least in my eyes, for people that do arena, because to me, I've always been of the opinion where it's like, it should be you. You know what I mean? If you're getting an arena result, it should be you getting that arena result. It shouldn't be the result of 4 different people playing your account, especially for Live Arena, because there are only, certain times that you can really do it, as opposed to Classic Arena, which of course always had just one time period at the end of a week. You know what I mean? Were you available for that time period or were you not? It was a lot easier, in my opinion, to make yourself available, as long as you don't live on the East Coast, which I know you are in, Eastern time zone as well. And you're doing,
they still didn't change it.
Yeah, they still have not changed it. So talking about changes that have not happened in the game, Classic Arena still isn't blind, so people can target you, and clan still matters. Though I will say it's more open than it was. There was a while there where basically if you weren't in MAD, you were not going to win. It was just as simple as that. If you weren't in MAD, didn't matter how good your account was, didn't matter how stacked you are. Even Panda couldn't win for a solid year plus, because they would just pound his account in the last 5 minutes or so of the reset, and there's no way you can stand up to that kind of concerted pressure. That has changed. You can win in different clans now. It's not as aggressive as it was before, but they haven't improved any of that, Machan. They haven't improved anything in Classic Arena. Still the same reset time, no blind mode, nothing like that. And then for Live Arena, the only change they've made is this seasonal mode. There's no friendly battles. There's no tournaments. I hate to say it, you haven't missed much. You know what I mean? You've not missed much.
So how long is the season?
So the season is basically a month long now. So it's a month long.
So this guy in a month did 3,000.
Yes. In a month, this guy did 3,000 battles, which is just ludicrous. So ludicrous.
100 battles a day.
Pretty much. Pretty much. And you think about the gems, because it costs up to 100 gems to reset. So Plarium, this is part of why they won't change this to a more, I think, friendly mode, where basically you're limited to only a certain number of battles counting, which is something I've given for feedback, where it's like, hey, you shouldn't have to play Raid 24 hours a day, you know what I mean, in order to qualify for this stuff. We need to limit the number of battles that qualify, which also means your win rate would matter drastically more. You know what I mean? If you're losing battles and only 20 battles count per day, Now you really need to beat the people you face. Now you can't throw away a battle like you can here. So yeah, it's pretty insane. It's gotten absolutely crazy, but people will do it. You know what I mean? You'll have people put up.
So what do you get for this?
That's a great. What do you get? Great question. Take a guess, actually, before I show you. What do you think you get for all of this time?
So
what do you think?
Based on your screen here, I don't think they get a trophy or anything like that, right?
Well, only one person does. Only the person who finishes number one.
Oh, you still get a trophy.
You still get a trophy. And interesting. Wait.
You get some gear.
Oh, Crypto joined Mad. This is interesting. He was in a different clan before. So Mad has now absorbed Crypto. So Crypto won both live arena seasons, I believe. So I'm not sure. This should be 2 because he's won both. But yes, you do get some gear. You get some gear for winning battles. But what do you think the actual end of season rewards are? Do you have any guess? Any idea as to what they could be?
Gears and gems. That's it.
Gears and gems. You're pretty close. So you don't get all of this, by the way. You get a portion of this. So you could get 1 sacred shard and 1 legendary book. you could get. This is relic material, so this is new to the game from when you left, which is, the game has had massive power creep since you've been gone, which we can get into, of course. Yeah, it's
your power. Like when I left, I had like 25 million power, and that was a lot back in.
Yeah, what was your power level? What was it?
25 million.
Yeah, so this is actually low. People now are, if you look at clan power level rankings, for individual members, so let's go into Panda. So Panda is a great example, is one of the strongest champions or accounts in the game. 142 million. Yeah.
That's insane.
I didn't even know he was at this high. That's holy hell.
That's Panda, right?
That's Panda. Yeah, this is Panda's
main
main
I remember
account.
When I left, he had like 42 million.
Yep.
When I left.
142 million now. I actually didn't even know it was that high. That's actually insane. Wow. Good Lord. I am definitely not a Kraken anymore. That is for sure. So let me ask you this. There's also, so those are a couple of the reasons why you left. There's one other reason that I've heard. People have told me like, oh, this is a big reason why Machan left, but I'm curious if it's actually true. And that is, the rumor was one of the other decisions that made you walk away was because you couldn't pull a Taurus and Marichka. Is that true?
Yeah. I guess so. Because back in the days, you just needed both of them, not one of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much all top 20 people in Classic Arena, 19 of them have the duel, and I am the last one that don't have the duel. I don't have either one of them.
Yes, you didn't pull either one, so your brutal shard luck continued.
Yeah, and I always save a lot for the 2x event or the 10x event. I never got it.
Tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But I heard like right after I gave my account away, the new owner got both of them.
That is the most Plarium thing I've ever heard. That is phenomenal. Yeah. Literally, you walk away, you give your account away, and the next dude immediately pulls a Taurus and Marichka. That's fantastic. Oh, God. I can actually relate to this too, Machan. So right now, you've seen mythicals are in the game now. You can see that I have quite a few mythicals and they're empowered. But I am personally missing the most broken mythical in the game, who is insanely broken, and that is Nice. I cannot pull this guy. It is a massive disadvantage in Live Arena, in Classic Arena, in Siege, which is another mode they've added, which is like clan-based wars, essentially. I just can't pull this guy. I've pulled thousands of mythical shards, and this dude eludes me, and unfortunately, he is the most broken champion for Arena in the game, bar none. And it's interesting because it is so frustrating because so many people have this champion now at this point. And it's like, how much money do you really want to spend, right? Like here we are in a 2x mythical. They're doing the same events they did before, 2x chances for kind of stuff. They haven't really increased the chance to get specific champions. They haven't given you a chance to get specific mythical champions, to be clear. And it's like, do I really want to drop $1,000 to try to get this champion and come up empty? You know what I mean? And
well, like if they just put a price tag, say it's $1,000, people would do it.
People would.
The thing is, it's not 1,000. It could be 5,000.
It could be 5,000. It could be 10,000 potentially. You know what I mean? So I totally relate to that. It's a big reason. Like, if I were going to walk away from Raid myself, that would be one of the biggest reasons why. Because like you, for me, my favorite part of Raid is the arena by far. Like, PvE doesn't really interest me. I don't care about Hydra. They added another clan boss called Chimera since you've gone. I don't care about this either. I really don't care about any PvE modes in this game. All I care about is arena.
Mm.
And it's definitely like one of those things where at the high level, if you don't have certain champions, you are just really at a disadvantage. And I've got a lot of really strong, really good champions, but there's always one or two in this game that are a cut above. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So is Arena full of mythics right now?
It is. Yes, it
It
absolutely
is.
is. Yeah. You're going to
Okay.
see more mythicals than anything else at the high level of Arena. There are, I think, something like 24, 25, maybe 26 mythicals now. Still no 10x on this. They also, like, you remember soul stones and empowerment and things of that nature. They
Yeah.
also don't let you purchase mythical souls. So they make it so
Oh, you can only summon it.
you can only summon it. So they've really taken the level of how they basically how they force people to spend to a completely different level from where you were. Like, frankly, I'll be completely honest, you were smart to get out when you know what I mean? But I will say this, I really miss your content. You know what I mean? And I guess that's my next question. Do you miss creating content for Raid? And whether you do or don't, did you go create content on anything else after Raid? Like, so you made the decision to leave, you walked away. Do you miss that? And where did you go afterward?
Well, I would say like back in the days when I was creating content for RaidShadowLegends, I absolutely enjoyed my time. I think the game was fun, and all my viewers are very supportive and friendly. Like we chat about arena and stuff. And I would think we had a great time. But the issue is, like after you finish all the content, or you build all the, let's say, the meta champions, there were just not much to do.
Mm,
I remember there was a time when I was creating content for Racial Legends. I just don't know what video I should do. Like, I don't want to be like some other content creators. They just read from Plarium Discord, say, "Oh, we're gonna have this event tomorrow. Here is the champion skills." Then they're gonna read all three skills and tell their viewers, "Oh, this their opinion about the champion." Like, that's not what
mm,
I'm gonna do. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a reader of the news, right? I want to create actual content. So like after I made all the showcase for the new champions and meta champion, I just kind of all the content. And there was I was struggling a little bit. I was thinking like if should I continue doing this because I see other content creators they put out video every day. And for me like the
yeah.
maximum I can do is like maybe 3 or 4 videos a week and sometimes not even that because I don't know what to do. Like I don't want to be a news reader. I want to do interesting content. So that's why, like, when I decided to quit, I just feel that the game did not bring any interest to me anymore. I don't
Mm.
have the champion I want. I don't have anything I can showcase. So I guess that'll be it at that moment. That's how I feel. Then I moved to other games because back in days, like there was another game that has really good graphics called Dragonair Silent Gods, and then
Yeah.
that game got shut down. Yeah.
It's coming back though. It's coming back.
Yeah, I'm gonna revisit it after it come back.
Dude, I relate to that so hard, man, because I am also not someone who does news content ever. I typically do like, I want to get it. I want to pull a champion, right? I want it to be in my collection so I can battle in arena with it, not do it on the test server. And I also struggle to figure out like what do people want to watch? What do I show someone content wise? Like I have an easier time when I'm just streaming because I can chat with people and I interact and have fun doing live arena. But I think that's one of the big things for me also with the game where it's like, I struggle to come up with what I consider to be interesting ideas, like other than just, hey, let's pull some more shards and piss money down the drain. You know what I mean? Not getting the champion that I want. And hey, you know what? Sometimes people love to watch that. You know what I mean? They love to watch you get owned. I did a video
That's
recently.
why I really like to watch Darth microtransaction because I remember he also had bad luck and he spent a lot.
It's I just did a video right now where I pulled over 400 ancient shards and like 20 sacreds for one champion that is basically the most important champion for PvE content. Her name is Fina. And did I get her? Of course not. No, I did not. I got completely destroyed. So I totally relate to that. So okay, so Dragonair is coming back. I mean, are you still creating content anywhere, or have you just
No,
kind
I
of
don't.
taken a
Like
break?
I pretty much just quit mobile games right now, but I might come back.
Might come back. If you come
Yeah.
back, will you be a whale kraken again, or will you do it more of like low spam?
Well, if I keep my same spending habit as Racial Legends in any other mobile game, I think I will be like much more powerful.
It's true. Like other mobile games, it's easier to get to that top level. Raid is,
Yeah, I just think other mobile games are just cheaper.
yes, they
Yeah,
really are. They really are. It's interesting how Raid. I mean, Raid has done an incredible job of getting people integrated into their ecosystem so that they don't want to leave. You could call it
yeah,
addiction. You could call it excitement. You could call it whatever you want. I still love this game in spite of all of its flaws. And one of the big things that's changed, just so you know, too, with Arena is more RNG based now than ever before. There are strong champions, but there is so much RNG that has come into the game in the form of relics that may or may not proc. Like there's one thing called a Wanda submission that has a chance to reflect any kind of CC. You were here when Sheep came into the game. I personally hate
yeah.
polymorph. It's one of my least favorite.
Yeah, I hated that.
It's all. Thank you. Okay, here we go. You heard it from here. The god of PvP creators also hates polymorph. I knew it all along. This is why I knew we were destined to get to know each other. So I'm really happy about that. But it's interesting how much the game has changed. Like it is way more RNG based now than it ever was before. Mythicals are extremely broken. Many of them, not all. Some of them are quite bad, which always feels bad to pull, and the shards for them are much more expensive. And then again, empowerment too. So it's crazy how much has changed in this game. So
And you can, yeah, so you can only get mythical from mythic shard.
only
right?
from only from primal shards.
Primal shard.
Yeah, no other way to do it. So it's primals only.
Based on what you show me on your account, like you basically don't need to spend on ancient.
That's correct. Yes. So what's changed is nowadays the only things you'd hypothetically spend on are primal shards and potentially void shards, because there are a couple of still really good void champions that are useful. An example of this would be somebody like Shuzen, who's still one of the absolute best speed leads in the game, or Onryo Iyasu, who has like block revive ability and go through stone skin and stuff like that. So
But for void shard, you cannot get mythic.
no, cannot get mythics off of a void shard, but if I were a betting man, that's the next power creep. You know what I mean? They'll do mythical voids, and they'll probably charge $8 a shard or something asinine for those things. You know what I mean? Because they probably can. So it's coming. I just don't know when. Here's the next question I have for you. Would you ever play Raid again? You know, you said you haven't really kept up with it. You walked away clean. You gave away your account. Would you ever come back to Raid?
Yeah, if someone gave me a top tier account, I'll play.
All right. Hey, listen, guys in Mad, if you're walking away, maybe you give a top tier account to our boy Machan and get him back in the game. Would you create content if you ever came back? Would you go back to making videos and stuff? Okay, there we go. So that's good. So there's an opportunity maybe to get you back in here, get you back to shredding, which would be awesome. Now, it's interesting too you mentioned that, and you know, by the way, guys, this is our first time ever talking. I've never had an opportunity to talk to you before this video. One of the things I did want to touch on was when you left, and we're not going to get into the specifics because I don't want to get in trouble, but when you left, Plarium claimed that you had broken TOS, terms of service. And there was a whole video that you did about this. I personally thought it was very unfair, what they accused you of doing, but basically I believe they copyright strike your account. Did they not? Is that what had happened?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They copy strike the YouTube channel. So I received a warning from YouTube saying like, if you get 3 of this, your channel is gonna be permanently banned, something like that. Yeah. So after that, I reached out to Player and said that I'm gonna delete the video. I don't remember if that's what I said. I reached out to Clarence looking for a solution, and they said if you delete the video, we will remove the strike.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Really, and guys, just so you understand, I mean, it's a really, really, really big deal for a company to copyright strike someone, especially one of their own creators, somebody who is representing the game. Again, we're not going to get into the reasons why that happened. I will just say that I thought it was extremely unfair when it did occur. I don't think that it was something that should have happened. At the time, I still feel that way all these years later, that it was completely unwarranted and kind of an abuse of power. My question, though, was that something that would ever affect you coming back? Like kind of the way that they did you a little dirty, in my opinion, on the way out. You know, do you hold a grudge there or not?
No. I honestly, like, if I think about it now, I don't really care. Like, if the game is fun again, someone gave me a 100 million power account, I'm going to revisit the game.
I love that. So okay, that's a great question then. So what would you haven't played in a while. You were here when Live Arena came out. What do you think would make the game fun again? Just having a high-end account so you can go in and have some good battles in Arena, or is there anything else that comes to mind?
First of all, like change the classic arena reset time. People have been
Yes.
saying this for years, right? Like even if I come back in the future, I'm not gonna stay up 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Like the reason I did that is it was during COVID. We were we were stuck at home. But
Yeah.
right now, no way I'm gonna stay up until 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. Yeah.
Dude, I have a full-time job. I won't do it either. I literally don't even bother participating in Classic Arena because I feel like there's no reason for me to stay up till 3 or 4 a.m. every week to try to do it, number one. And the other part of it was I was never in Mad. I knew I didn't have any chance in hell of winning. When I was in Panda, especially, I'm like, why would I bother with this crap? Like, if it's not blind arena where I don't know who I'm fighting, so I can't get targeted and or target other people, and if it's not at a different time of day, I have zero interest. So I completely agree with you there. And it's one of the things that we have given feedback in the content creator chat to Plarium many times. And who knows if they're actually going to fix it or change it. Is there anything else beyond that? Any other improvements you'd want to see?
Yeah. Then the second thing I want to see is decrease the price of shards.
Yeah, well, that'll be a cold day in hell when that happens.
So have they increased the price?
Well, so here's the funny thing. They haven't increased. Well, yeah, actually, yes, they kind of have. They haven't increased the overall, necessary price. They still have like deals that come out every now and then, but they've changed the way packs work to give you less and less and less. So they've increased the price in that regard. Like, great example is a void pack. They had a void pack. Some people get offered this. I actually want to do a video on this. Some people still get offers of 40 voids for $100 or 24 voids for $60. I don't get those offers for some reason, which I think is extremely unfair. Where someone else, gets
I think
that
they
offer.
had this. They had this.
Yeah, they had those then, right? Well, some people still get those offers. I don't. I haven't seen one of those offers in over a year. And it's bullshit. You know what I mean? I'm being completely honest. Completely hilarious and unfair that someone else gets to buy voids at a different price. Now, I will say I can understand region-based pricing, where some regions are, the income is significantly lower. They want people to still play the game and spend, so they make shards less expensive or more expensive. I'm still not a fan of that, frankly. I still think that's kind of shitty. But yeah, it's so to answer your question is void shards cost about what they did before. If not, they're a little bit more expensive, surprisingly. And then mythical shards, when they came out, were astronomically. We're talking $8 a shard. And these things, by the way, still give you potentially rare champions. Like, you don't get guaranteed epics or legendaries or whatever. You actually have a 65% chance. This is double odds right now because we're on a 2x. 65, this is normally 80-something% or more odds of pulling a freaking rare off a mythical. And they charged $8 a shard for these things when they first came out. They're basically glorified ancient shards, and they were charging $8 a shard. And many people, myself included, said absolutely not. Like, I'm not doing it.
So
no way.
The normal mythic rate is 0.5%.
That's
right?
Correct. Exactly. Yep. Exactly like an ancient shard. 0.5% normally. You can get up to a 2x chance, just like ancient shard. You get a little bit better chance at epics than you would with ancients, because you also get an increased chance at a legendary. But they were $8 when they came out, at least in America. Basically, the whole community said, we're not buying this shit. And they actually ended up lowering the prices down to $5 a shard, which is still a shit ton of money.
Still a lot.
A ton of money when you think about how many shards you have to pull to make this happen. But yeah, so okay, so shard prices coming down. That would be the other thing. Anything else? Were you ever a fan of Live Arena? Did that ever, interest you or not?
I think it was fine. I did play Live Arena. It's fine. I think I don't have an issue with it because it didn't have the season stuff you mentioned, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think when you had ranking system, people don't really get it.
Yeah, there were no rewards for that.
The last thing probably I want to see the game improve is probably make some like really good PvE content. Like PvE should be fun. It shouldn't be like people just like auto battle everything like 2-3 hours a day, leaving their computer running. Doesn't make sense, right?
I mean, it's definitely, that's one of the other big complaints still in the game, that it takes a lot of time to play Raid, and they've only added more stuff. So they've added Curse City, I think this was around when you were still here, if I remember correctly. Maybe.
No, I never saw this.
Okay, so this is like, think of this as Doom Tower, but significantly more frustrating because the stages are designed to be extremely difficult for the champions that you're allowed to use. So you can only use certain champions, similar to Doom Tower, but it's more restrictive. And some of the stages are absolutely insane. Like this stage has, you have to defeat Taurus and Marichka, two Tauruses, one Marichka, and you only get, in hard mode, this is normal mode, and you only get epic champions to do it with. And some of these epic champions on some rotations, it makes sense.
Hold on. So
yeah,
right now there's epic champion empowerment.
Yes, they brought in epic champion empowerment.
They actually listened.
They actually listened. It took a long time. And actually that was the result of content creators. Funny enough, people like to bitch about me complaining about the game all the time. They're like, "Oh, Drock, why do you complain?" Because without it, stuff like this doesn't come into the game. If you don't bitch about this and complain about it, they will never do it. And epic empowerment was the direct result of content creators, usually the big ones, think Ash, Hell, Hades, Scratch, giving feedback to the devs in a dev feedback session where they said, you need to do this. People want it. And they finally did it. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen without people complaining and saying, hey, we really want this. But so to give you an example of the stage, this is a brutal stage where you've got double Taurus, a Marichka, a Sathalia to cleanse, Staltis to stun you. It's like, it's brutal. This is one of the easier rotations, but yeah, this whole content is nuts. Only 47 people finished the entirety of this hard mode map every month last year. 47 people, that's it. That's in total. And that's not even taking into account Faction Wars Hard, which they just added. And some of this content is really hard. Even with empowered champions, even with fully awakened, blessed champions, mythicals, whatever, some of it is still really, really difficult. And difficult for like goofy reasons where, you'd have to play it to see it, but it's like, you have to kill this one champion with no buffs on them. And it's all champions that cleanse and put up buffs. So like the RNG level of that is also pretty insane as well, especially with the champions that you're allowed to use. So yeah, if you want a PvE challenge, they're certainly in there. I don't know how you'll feel about them. They definitely aren't things you can easily auto, that's for sure. But I appreciate that feedback. I've got a couple of quick questions for you, and then we'll wrap things up here. But this is like the rapid fire round of questions here. First and foremost, your favorite raid champion of all time. What was your favorite raid champion while you played?
Leorius.
I knew it because it was one of my favorites as well. So Leorius, that was exactly what I expected you to say. It's crazy how much he's been power crept. You never see him in arena anymore. And he was dominant at the time. That was my favorite arena meta. And speaking of which, what was your favorite arena meta? So you played for quite some time. What was your favorite PvP meta in Raid?
PvP meta, like offense or defense?
Either one or both. How about give me both?
For offense, I think I like just nuke them down with Leorius. Yeah.
I love it.
And for defense, like I like to build a really, really tanky team back in the days.
Yeah.
Like with Duchess, Prisk, and the big mama champion.
Usurga.
Yeah. So build a super tanky team nobody can kill.
Another champion that you never see anymore. You never see Usurga in arena at all anymore. Look at that. Look at the ratings.
Oh, they reset the rating.
They reset the ratings. Look at that though, right? Crazy. The power creep. If you only knew, Machan, if you come back, and I hope you do, I think it would be great. But if you come back, prepare to see a completely different scenario where some of the champions that were god tier back in the day are now no longer, even I guess they're hypothetically usable, but definitely not to the extent that they were before.
It's all mythical now, right?
It's all mythical, man. It's all this freaking champion right here. I'll probably pull mythical shards later today. I'll probably give in, and I'm sure I won't get him, and I will be sad again. And I'll post that video. Maybe I'll link it to you so you can see.
That's a damage dealer?
Yes, he's a damage dealer, and his second form is insanely broken. We're talking like his passive is nuts. Increases his HP, defense, speed, resistance, accuracy by 15%. For every dead enemy and ally, stacking up to 100%, and he revives people anytime he kills someone. And he has a unremovable counterattack and block damage buff. And he also heals himself on his A1 or increases his turn meter. And he can provoke and stun, and this nuke hits insanely hard. because you can build him. If you look at his base stats, you can't see him here. He's got 24k base HP. So he can like scale up to almost 200,000 or more HP in his second form with like 8,000 defense and like insane speed. So he's extremely difficult to deal with, especially in live arena, where there's only a couple maybe semi-reliable counters. And Marius is a champion that they put into the game, which is funny enough a legendary champion that's actually one of the best champions in the game, one of the best counters. Too nice, but he gets banned all the time, and so you're kind of just left at somebody's. I hope you come back so you can experience the difference, man, because it's super different.
Yeah.
Couple more quick questions. Do you have a favorite piece of content that you ever did? Anything that like one piece of content that you really loved that you were proud of?
I really enjoy when I try to showcase a really broken champion, and yeah, I think that was fun. Also, like I really like when I was making the video and I got destroyed. That was quite interesting.
It didn't happen super often, but every once in a while, in one of your videos, it would
Yeah.
be funny where you were showcasing a champ and something would go wrong. And I always enjoyed those because you were very, I think, humble about it and like, oh, well, let me
Yeah.
try it again and kind of figure it out. I think final quick question here. You know, best like moment of your content creation career. You know what I mean? You talked about getting you know, shouted out by Manable. Was there anything else that really stood out in your time as a content creator? Did you go to TwitchCon or did you? I know you didn't do a ton of collabs.
No.
You know what I mean? So was there anything else that kind of like stood out to you? The answer may be no, by the but just
Yeah.
curious.
I mean, I do content creation. It's purely because I think it's fun. Like I don't do it because I want to make money or anything. I do it first of all, I think it's fun. I had a lot of I got a lot of enjoyment out of it, and I think my viewers are super supportive. And yeah, I don't do it for money. I enjoy the game.
Yeah.
And all the short pulls and the arena runs and stuff, even the dramas. I enjoyed all of them.
That's awesome.
And I remember I made drama videos as well.
There definitely isn't as much drama, I would say, in the raid community nowadays. At least not in the CC community that I've seen. There was some back in the day. I never got involved in that, but not too much. At least not that's not behind the scenes. Two final questions, and then I'll let you go. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Also, I love your background because it looks like you're on vacation, which is perfect. I told you this before we started, that it's fantastic. But you know, first and foremost, do you have any advice that you'd give to content creators now, if they were looking to start their raid journey or you know, get into content creation in general? And then what do you hope your audience remembers about your content? You know, your audience, what do you hope they remember about you?
Okay, so for the first question, I think if you want to be a content creator for this game, you're gonna make the content you enjoy. Like if you enjoy to be a news reader, then do it. That's fine. If you enjoy to be like arena player and you think you're good at it, then your focus should be that part. Like if you just do the things you like, you're gonna do it well. That's my advice to new content creators. I remember like there were multiple times when I was still making content for this game, there were people messaging me on Discord saying, "Oh, I want to be a content creator as well. Can you give me some advice?" I received that too. So I always said, like, you need to be good at certain part of the game. That's how you're gonna be success. It can be anything. It can be news reading, it can be PvE, it can be PvP. If you're just average in every aspect of the game, that's probably still okay. Like if you have a really fun personality, right? like
love it.
Darth, right? Like I think he's pretty average in the game, but he's funny when he was doing sharp pull. So you gotta be good at something to be successful, right?
Yeah.
And then for your second question, sorry, what was that again?
So what do you hope your audience remembers about your content? What do you hope they remember about your journey? Because I'll also tell you, Machan, you were one of the most requested people for this series that I'm doing, right? You were one of the people that were like, please get Machan on. I really want to talk to him. I really want to hear like where he's been, what he's been up to, what he's doing, and what he thinks about Raid. So what do you hope that people remember about your content in Raid?
Honestly, like I don't really care if people remember me or not. I think it's good they do. Like if the people of RaidShadowLegends can remember there was a content creator called MacChan once existed, that's cool. If not, that's fine. I just want to tell people, do things you want to do. If one day you don't enjoy this game anymore, just find something else.
Yeah, yeah, that is great advice. I think that maybe all of us sometimes, because certainly I've had a love-hate relation with this game where I like it more sometimes, I like it less at other times. You know, it really changes depending on the month. Also changes depending on the champion I pulled. that definitely affects how I feel about the game. But dude, I just want to say again, Machan, thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
No worries.
Just an absolute honor to get you on the channel, man. And again, as someone who was a major fan of your content before I started my own content creation journey, this is truly a dream come true for me to get a chance to talk with you and share what you've been up to with my viewers. And genuinely, I hope you come back. I'm not even gonna lie, I really do. I would love to see you back in with the new meta with a stacked account. So hey guys, if you're a Kraken or a whale and you're thinking about maybe it's time to walk away, you know what I mean, and you want someone to take over, you know, here you go. I don't think there could be anyone more exciting in my opinion. So anything else you want to say before I let you go?
I just want to say I had a great time talking with you. It's really fun.
I really appreciate it. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get you on the channel. So I'm really happy that it worked out. And actually a shout out to Ash, because Ash was the one who had put us in contact, of course. Surprise, surprise, absolute legend Ash. So Ash, if you happen to watch this video and get to the end, I just want to say thank you as well for putting us in contact so that we could do this interview. But dude, thank you so much. And anywhere I should link, by the way, anywhere that you want me to link, should I link to your old channel in case you come back to content creation or anything else?
Yeah, sure. You can link my old channel.
Awesome. I'll link the old channel if you guys want to see some of the stuff that Machan has done in the past. Again, some of my absolute favorite content in the entire history of RaidShadowLegends. And then hopefully we'll get him back in here to start creating content again at some point, and he can experience the frustration of it just like we all do now. So thank you so much for watching, guys. This has been Big Papa Drock and Machan, and we are out.